Don't have a female boss. Simple as that. Don't have a female boss. If you're a guy who's capable, don't have a female boss, okay? Because it's gonna be a miserable experience, and let me explain why. The fact is, men and women value radically different things. It doesn't matter what left-wing SJW rhetoric says that we're all the same. It doesn't matter this nonsense that we're all born blank slate. That's not true, okay? Every scientific study has shown that men and women are born radically different, and we find things that are radically different to be important. Infants, I'm talking hours-old infants. Whenever they study their eye movements, the girls always look at faces and the boys always look at moving parts. Always, no exception. And that's because our brains are wired different. And you think that that doesn't translate into adults, into adulthood, into jobs, huh? You're working at a job, you're working at some corporate environment, and you have a female boss. You think that female boss is going to be like a male boss? No, son, no! As always, the caveat, this doesn't apply to every single case and every single person, but for the most part, it's been my experience, both as an employee and as a boss, that women bosses will prioritize getting along in a smooth working environment. Male bosses will prioritize results. And that, right then and there, tells you pretty much all you need to know. If you're working in an environment where a calm and relaxed working environment is very important, then having a female boss is going to be great because she's going to prioritize that shit, okay? Suppose you're working at, I don't know, like an ER or something like that, right? You don't want to have an environment that's hysterical. No, you want like a calm, soothing environment so that whenever an emergency arises, people will act calmly and normally, right? But if you're in a profession where results are what matter, then a female boss is going to be a disaster because she's not going to be prioritizing results. She's going to be prioritizing a smooth working environment to the detriment of objective criteria. That's why, for instance, in most prop desks at banks, in most trading desks, they're all guys. And the boss, he can be the biggest asshole in the world, but if he delivers results, he's a god. And nobody cares how big of an asshole he is. Everybody wants to work for him. Yeah. Everybody wants him both as a boss and as an employee. See? That's why guys rule in financial trading. You go to any desk in the world, 100% of the people there are going to be guys, of the traders, okay? Not analysts, traders. The traders are going to be guys because they are result-oriented. Because if you don't know, in any trading desk that a bank might have, nobody gives a shit if you're a great guy or not. All they care about is if you're making money. Because that's the whole point of a trading desk, to make money. And if you're not making money, you could be the nicest guy in the world. You can be Jesus fucking Christ for all I care. You are going to be fired because nobody gives a shit. Everybody cares about results. And that's an environment where guys rule. But where do women rule? Healthcare. Helping elderly people and whatnot, and those like assisted living facilities and whatnot. Yeah. See, a female boss, she's going to prioritize a nice working environment. And so if that's your industry, you're going to have a female boss and it's going to be aces. You have a guy boss in that kind of an industry and it's going to be stressful because they're going to be looking for results, whatsoever the result may be. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is, but a guy is going to aim for the quantitative result, whereas the woman is going to aim for the qualitative result. Now, what do you think this means insofar as your boss is concerned? It means quite naturally that a female boss won't give a shit if you do well or not. She's just going to care that you're a nice guy and that you get along with everybody and that you help to create a smooth and easygoing working environment. Yeah. A guy boss, on the other hand, he's going to care about results. That's the truth. That's the matter. That's the truth of the matter, and that's the way it's always going to be. no matter what anybody says. Yeah, you have some boss at some trading desk, for instance, at some bank. Suppose, like, some VP at some bank is smoking a lot of crack or something, and he hires a woman who's the head of a trading desk, right? What's going to happen is that boss is not going to care as to whether you're a good trader or not. All she's going to care about is that you be a non-disruptive member of that trading desk. You could be a shit trader and lose money on every trade, but if you're a nice guy and get along with everybody and don't make any waves, you'll be fine with her. You'll be aces in her book. Yeah, you'll be a good employee, even though you are losing money for the bank. You see? Yeah. So in a trading desk where results ought to matter, if you have a female boss, the results are going to go downhill, but it's going to be a great working environment. Oh yeah, it'll be lovely. On the other hand, you got a male boss, he's going to demand results. He's going to want to measure how well you are doing, and he's going to hold you to those measurements. He's going to project, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. It should be, you should reach 10 or 11 by the end of the month, and if you don't reach that, he's going to cut you. That's the way it's going to be, which is, of course, going to be great if you work on a trading desk, but it's going to be shit if you're working, say, at an assisted living facility. You see? And you see the difference. So you work with a man, it's all going to be quantifiable results. You work with a woman, it's all going to be, if you're a nice guy and you get along with everybody and create a harmonious environment. Now, you have to ask yourself, what kind of boss is better for you? Ultimately, what is the business that you're involved in? Okay? I mean, this is assuming you're an employee of some sort. You got to realize what's going on, and you got to realize too what kind of a guy you are, and see if you will fit in this environment. See, I was always lousy with female bosses because I'm a prickly guy. I'm pretty much of an asshole most of the time, right? I'm very unpleasant to work with. Yeah, because I am result-oriented. Yeah. You tell me that we have to do X result, and I'm going to say, fuck it, I'm going to do X plus 10. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make my fucking quota and surpass it. That's my mentality. That's the way I've always been. I've always wanted to achieve not X, but X plus 10, X plus whatever. Whatever makes it better than everybody else, because that's how I'm hardwired. It's always been the case. And I don't care about stepping on people's toes in order to get to that X plus 10. You see what I'm saying? And because of that, female bosses, when I was young, I haven't had a boss since 1996, okay? But when I had female bosses, they couldn't handle me. They couldn't handle me because I was so driven by results. Whereas guy bosses, they loved me because I was driven by results. Of course, when I was young, I didn't realize this, okay? It's only with a lot of experience that I've understood this situation. And the fact of the matter is, the thing that really taught me this whole thing was working on film production. Yeah, because a lot of times we'd have these assistant directors. Assistant director is a key person in a film production. And you want to make sure as a producer that your assistant director is a hard-charging person that gets results, gets the scenes every day. And what happened was that on a couple of productions, I had these assistant directors, women, and they were very capable and they knew a lot about film production, but they didn't crack the whip. They prioritized having a fun set as opposed to making the scenes. Making the scenes, that is, shooting the scenes necessary that had been budgeted for that day. And with women assistant directors, consistently, we fell behind schedule. And with male assistant directors, that never happened. Yeah, the male assistant directors sometimes were complete assholes. Yeah, and people fucking hated them, and sometimes the set was just a very unpleasant place, but the scenes got made. They got shot on budget, on time. And me as a producer, I didn't lose fucking money, okay? That's why those guys are so valuable, and that's why those female assistant directors who created such a great environment were lousy. You see? Yeah, that's how I understood the difference between female bosses and male bosses. But of course, when I was an employee, I didn't understand this. It was only when I was in a supervisory capacity, when I could hire a woman or I could hire a guy. And that's when I understood the difference between the two. Neither is better than the other. I have to emphasize this. Neither is better than the other. They are simply different. Because sometimes you want to have a working environment that is calm and relaxed and fun. Because, like I said before in the previous example, you know, in like an ER in a hospital, you want that kind of environment. There's stress enough with the job. You don't want to have even more stress. But there are other positions where you do want somebody who's cracking the whip. You do want somebody who's result-oriented. And on average, of course, not in every case, there's always exceptions in every situation, but on average, for the most part, women prioritize having a nice time. Women prioritize having a convivial environment. And this means that your results suffer when you have a woman as a boss. This, of course, is going to be used to label me a misogynist, that I'm a misogynist and blah, blah, blah. But it's the truth, you know. Why is the truth misogynistic? Why can't we just accept the truth as it is because it is like that? Not in every case, certainly not. There are always exceptions. Sure, yeah. But for the most part, 2 standard deviations from the norm, it's this way that I'm telling you. You have a female boss and you got to figure out what kind of business you're involved in, and you got to figure out what kind of a guy you are, okay? Because if you're a hard charger like me, a guy who demands X+10 of himself because that's the way he is, you are going to have a shit experience with a female boss. Guaranteed. Now, on the other hand, if you're an easygoing kind of guy, you're going to have a wonderful experience with a female boss, and good on you. I'm not saying either is better. Fact of the matter is, from my vantage point as an older guy, I think that both are valuable and both should be applied. They are complementary. And there are certain businesses, like I said before, that you want to have that conciliatory approach. And there are certain businesses where you want, indeed need, that hard-charging, numeric, quantifiable approach. But see, I'm telling you what you have to figure out and understand. You have to figure out about yourself and understand about women if you have a female boss. Because if you, as a guy, cannot suss out what your female boss wants from you, and you're in a business with that female boss, and you can't change her, of course, you got her, right? You got to figure out what she wants from you. You got to figure it out right quick. Because if you don't figure out right quick, then you are going to have a miserable time, and more likely than not, you're going to get fired for being just the guy that you are. So figure out who's your boss.